A man lies at the entrance of a bear's den. Without a word, he fires a shot inside. But it wasn't to hunt the bear. It was to capture the legendary immortal god of war. The bear, its slumber disturbed, emerges with a swipe. It can't even get a moment's peace to sleep. Then, a man walks out of the cave. Who is this man? It all begins with a war. The year 1904. Japanese and Russian soldiers clashed on Qing territory. Japan dispatched 130,000 soldiers to capture the Russian naval base. In the siege of Port Arthur, the Japanese lost 60,000 men. The Russians lost 46,000. Few who were sent to this battlefield returned home alive. Our protagonist Shanyuan and his friend Taraji arrived here. Starving for a day, Shanyuan wouldn't even let an ant go. To survive, they would rather chew on a Russian soldier's rump. Suddenly, the Russian army opposite them began a fierce bombardment. But they didn't hit a single thing. With an order from the officer, Shanyuan led the charge. Even after being shot several times, he did not fall. He threw the grenade tossed by the enemy right back. Then, raising his bayonet, he leaped into the Russian trench. He single-handedly took out all the soldiers. From then on, the name Immortal Shanyuan began to spread. After the war ended, he came to Hokkaido to fulfill a promise to his friend. Just then, an old man appeared and recognized him. He asked if he was truly immortal. Shanyuan explained that no matter how severe the wound, it would heal by the next day. If he hadn't almost killed his commanding officer, he might have even received a medal. The old man then told him, long ago, in every river in Hokkaido, you could find nuggets of gold as big as beans with a single scoop. To stop more people from fighting over the land, the Ainu people secretly organized a force to transport the gold away. But unexpectedly, a man appeared out of nowhere. He slaughtered all the Ainu who possessed the gold, and he stole all of it. The man hid the gold somewhere in this land. He was then captured and thrown into prison. This is the infamous Abashiri prison. The guards tortured him daily, trying to force him to reveal the gold's location. No matter the torture, the man never spoke. He had allies on the outside, but he could never get a message out to them. He couldn't trust the prisoners who were about to be released. Finally, he came up with a plan. He divided the clues into several parts. Then he ground charcoal into a fine powder and mixed it with water. He tattooed the clues onto death row inmates. Only by combining all the tattoos can the treasure be found. He promised a handsome reward to anyone who escaped. Someone in the army heard this news and got greedy. They secretly had all the death row inmates transferred, planning to look at the clues and take the gold. But this played right into the inmates' hands. They launched a surprise attack, killed all the soldiers, and then vanished. After hearing this, Shanyuan didn't pay it much mind, thinking the old man was just boasting. While warming himself by the fire, he recalled his time in the war. A Russian soldier lit a bomb, trying to take him down with him. At the critical moment, Taraji sacrificed his life to save him. When he woke up, the old man was beside him, fiddling with a gun. Sobered up, the old man realized he had said too much. He decided to kill Shanyuan. Shanyuan reacted, snatching the gun away. Terrified, the old man turned and fled. Shanyuan was suddenly intrigued. Perhaps the legend was true. When he chased him into the woods, he found the old man was already dead. Giant footprints on the ground suggested a brown bear was the culprit. He saw a tattoo on the corpse's collar and quickly tore open the clothes. It turned out he was one of the death row inmates. So Shanyuan carried the corpse and continued on his way. On the way, he saw a cute little bear cub and paid it no mind. But then he turned his head and saw its mother. He was frozen in shock by the sudden sight. The brown bear stood 2.5 meters tall. Suddenly, an arrow flew out and killed the brown bear. An Ainu girl appeared and saved Shanyuan. The girl was puzzled to hear a brown bear killed the man. She crouched down, cut open the mother bear's stomach, and saw it hadn't eaten. She guessed there was a bear nearby that had failed to hibernate. These types of bears are more aggressive. If it discovers its meal has vanished, it will surely go mad and follow the scent relentlessly. So the girl advised him to abandon the corpse and leave quickly. But how could Shanyuan give up the clue? He simply lifted the corpse's clothing to show her. He thought the girl wouldn't believe such a ridiculous story. But unexpectedly, the girl said her father died in that incident years ago. She decided to help Shanyuan hunt the brown bear. They prepared to use the corpse as bait to lure the bear out. Suddenly, the girl noticed the strange distribution of the corpse's tattoo. The pattern was segmented to make skinning easier. But now there was no time to skin it. The brown bear had already appeared. It pinned Shanyuan to the ground. The girl quickly drew her bow and shot an arrow. Using the moonlight, she successfully hit the bear. In pain, the bear charged into the forest, but it quickly launched a sneak attack. Just as it was about to pounce on the girl, a white wolf suddenly sprang from the nearby woods. It began to fight with the brown bear. Shanyuan raised his gun and shot the bear to divert its attention. Empowered by his immortality, he succeeded in killing it. Shanyuan knew it would be difficult to gather all the clues alone, and the girl wanted to avenge her father. So the two agreed to cooperate and find the death row inmates together. But the girl demanded that Shanyuan not kill anyone needlessly. Shanyuan could only agree. He then skinned the old man. The next day, the two set traps in the woods. The girl suddenly noticed Shanyuan's wounds had healed overnight. Shanyuan explained that he heals much faster than ordinary people. Afterward, the two headed for Otaru. If the fugitives were also looking for the gold, they wouldn't have gone far. The two searched the city but found no clues. The girl had a clever idea. She drew the tattoo and asked around the city. Sure enough, two men took the bait. They followed from behind, planning to silence them. But they were caught in a trap as soon as they went up the mountain. The two were indeed escaped death row inmates. They both had the clue tattoos on their bodies. The two then explained. Back then, the escaped inmates killed each other. They escaped during the chaos and hid in Otaru until now. When they heard someone asking about the tattoos, they decided to strike first. Shanyuan took out his knife, hoping to get more information. The girl thought he was going to kill them and stepped in to stop him. With no other choice, he had to draw the tattoos on paper. Suddenly, one of the prisoners was shot in the head. Seeing this, the girl quickly created smoke to block the killer's line of sight. The three of them used the chance to escape. The killer spotted the girl and prepared to shoot. Suddenly, Shanyuan lunged from the side and tackled him to the ground. When the two separated, Shanyuan quickly raised his gun, only to find its bolt had been pulled off by his opponent. The killer didn't even give Shanyuan a second glance. It turned out he was Weixing, from the Elite 7 Army Division. After delivering his threat, he charged at Shanyuan, but was taken down in a single move. In a life-or-death moment, the girl appeared, stopping Shanyuan from killing him. Hearing Shanyuan's great name, Weixing was terrified. He found a chance and quickly fled. Seeing this, Shanyuan knocked him into the valley with the butt of his rifle. At this time, the inmate Baishi had removed his shackles and was preparing to escape. Shanyuan saw this and tried to grab Baishi, but they both fell into the frozen lake. In the middle of winter, if they didn't dry their clothes quickly, the two of them would soon be frozen solid. But the matches were soaked, and the gun was out of reach. Shouting that he was immortal, Shanyuan waded into the river to find the dropped bullets. Baishi used this opportunity to make a deal with Shanyuan. If you let me go, I'll help you. Shanyuan had no choice but to agree. Baishi spat a bullet out from his mouth. Shanyuan watched this scene in shock. He quickly took the bullet and lit the firewood. Baishi told the two there were a total of 24 tattooed inmates back then. None of them were good people. The most evil of them was the boss who organized the escape, Sangbyo. It's said he was a samurai from the old shogunate army. Baishi also mentioned the man who tattooed him was called Yebifang. He was the one who told the inmates to flee to Otaru. Meanwhile, Sangbyo found an inmate with a square-shaped head, named Nyanshin. The two formed a partnership to find the remaining men. Together they would fight the 7th Division and get the gold. On Shanyuan's side, Baishi said goodbye to the two and left alone. Shanyuan warned him that the 7th Division was also looking for the gold. If he got caught, it wouldn't end well for him. Baishi said he was the escape king and wouldn't be caught. The remaining two turned and saw a squirrel. I've never eaten squirrel meat. The two ate lunch in a hunter's cabin. The girl thought the miso he took out was poop. She was disgusted that Shanyuan was eating poop with such relish. Meanwhile, the dying Weixing had been found by the 7th Division. Lieutenant Hai asked who did it. Weixing wrote the word Immortal on his hand. The next morning, Shanyuan and the girl were at the entrance of a bear's den. The girls suddenly noticed flashes of light from the mountain behind them. Let's go! It's a telescope. On the mountaintop are men from the 7th Division. 4 men on skis quickly gave chase. To protect the girl, Shanyuan suggested they split up. Seeing this, their captain, Yuanjilang, ordered his men to pursue Shanyuan. He followed the girl's footprints to their end. Using his past hunting experience, he discovered the girl hiding in a tree. He said he doesn't hit women and told her to come down. The girl hid her pack in the tree and jumped down. But as she came down, she accidentally hit a branch, and the pack fell down with her. Yuanjilang went over to check and found the tattoo maps she was carrying. At that moment, the girl tried to launch a surprise attack, but Yuanjilang sensed it and raised his gun as a warning. The next second, the white wolf appeared again, pouncing on Yuanjilang. Meanwhile, Shanyuan had been caught. He was forced to drop his weapon. In a moment of crisis, Shanyuan turned and dove straight into the brown bear's den. He remembered the girl had said brown bears won't attack humans who enter their dens. The 3 pursuers were shocked. They fired a shot into the cave. The brown bear charged out and tore the skin off one man's face with a single swipe. The soldier spun around and shot his own comrade. Then the bear chased the remaining man, biting at him. The faceless soldier finally fired a few shots and finished off the bear. By the time Shanyuan crawled out, there was no threat left, and in his arms was a baby bear cub. Meanwhile, the white wolf was about to kill Yuanjilang. The girl called out to stop it. It turned out this white wolf was the guardian spirit of the Ainu tribe. Just then, Shanyuan arrived. The girl warned Yuanjilang to hide well. The two both harbored their own suspicions. The girl was afraid Shanyuan would continue to kill, and Shanyuan was afraid she would eat the bear cub. But the girls said, when Ainu people find a bear cub, they take it back to the village to raise. So the two went to the girl's hometown. The village was built along the river. The villagers lived a simple life. That evening, he ate at the girl's grandmother's house. But the grandmother said Shanyuan should marry the girl. The girl deliberately mistranslated, telling Shanyuan to eat less poop. After the meal, the girl's uncle found Shanyuan. He could see that the two liked each other. He urged Shanyuan to give up the gold and be with the girl. The people of the tribe believe the gold is a cursed object. No one who has fought over this gold has survived. After thinking it over all night, Shanyuan still decided to leave secretly at dawn. He was an orphan of the war. He had killed too many people and was not fit to stay here. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Hai was searching for the whereabouts of Yuanjilang. Captain Hishin suddenly appeared, blaming him for mobilizing troops without authorization. But Hai bit off one of his fingers. Enraged, he ordered his adjutant Uedo to execute Hai, but the bullet was aimed at Hishin's head. Hai wanted to seize command of the 7th Division, so he had long been in collusion with Uedo. Many soldiers of the 7th Division had died in the war. His own skull had been blown off by a shell. He could only survive by wearing a protective headplate. He planned to lead the 7th Division to find the gold. At the same time, Baishi was in an Otaru brothel looking for a songstress. Suddenly, he ran headfirst into Nyaishin. Baishi was so scared he pissed himself and immediately fled. He ran into some soldiers and quickly asked for their help. He emphasized that the man chasing him had a tattoo. The soldiers decisively opened fire. But surprisingly, the bullets couldn't kill Nyaishin. Suddenly, a grenade exploded in the street. A man in black appeared and began attacking the soldiers. Hearing about the tattoo, Hai chased after him into the distance. But he found that the attacker had no tattoo. A subordinate reported an explosion at a bank. Only then did Hai realize it was a diversion to lure him away. By the time he got to the bank, the place was in total chaos. A famous sword that had been kept there was gone. Suddenly, the sound of a horse came from outside. Hai pushed open the window and saw Sangbyo holding the famous sword. Sangbyo exchanged a shot with him and then fled at high speed. At the same time, Shanyuan ran to a noodle shop in Otaru to eat. But the owner immediately reported that someone was looking for the tattoos. Soldiers from the 7th Division heard the news and rushed over. By now, the outside was surrounded by soldiers. Shanyuan was knocked to the ground. Just as he was about to be executed, Hai suddenly appeared and took him back to the military base. He even offered Shanyuan sticky rice balls as a treat, wanting him to hand over the tattooed human skin. But Shanyuan's evasive answers enraged Hai. He pierced Shanyuan's cheek with a bamboo skewer. Hai admired that he didn't even blink. He wanted to recruit him into the 7th Division to enjoy wealth and glory. They planned to use the gold as military funds, level the surrounding forests to grow opium, and provide jobs for families broken by the war. But Shanyuan refused to associate with him. Hai was in no hurry. He had his men keep a close watch on Shanyuan. Meanwhile, the girl and the wolf were tracking Shanyuan by the scent of his socks. They followed the wolf all the way to a house in Otaru. But it turned out the person inside was Baishi. Only then did they realize the two had worn the wrong socks. The wolf bit down on his head. Baishi had no choice but to confess that Shanyuan was taken to the 7th Division headquarters. The girl forced him to lead the way. On Shanyuan's side, he deliberately provoked the guards. He headbutted one, knocking his front teeth out. Then he flipped over and smashed a stool and began brawling with the two of them. The noise attracted other soldiers, who took the guards away. Baishi was also drawn by the sound. Through the window, he saw that Shanyuan was still alive. He went back to make a deal with the girl. As long as he gets a share of the gold, he's willing to squeeze through the iron bars to rescue Shanyuan. The girl agreed to Baishi's terms without hesitation. Then she gave him the bear fat she was carrying. Baishi coated his entire body with the grease and successfully climbed into the cell. Suddenly, there was a noise at the door. The previous guards had returned, wanting to secretly kill Shanyuan. However, Shanyuan was no small fry they could kill. By the time Hai heard the commotion and arrived, one of them was already dead. Shanyuan was clutching his stomach, leaning against the side. His intestines were spilling out. He then called out to Hai for help. If he saved his life, he would give him the tattooed skin. Hai happily ordered his men to send Shanyuan to the hospital. At this moment, Baishi was huddled behind a screen, trembling. The carriage carrying Shanyuan sped away. Hai suddenly noticed something was wrong with the corpse. He quickly unbuttoned the clothes and found the soldier's intestines had been removed. The scene changes. Shanyuan throws away the intestines in his hands. He knocks a guard off the carriage, but the other one was a skilled fighter. He pinned Shanyuan down, trying to stab him to death. At the critical moment, Shanyuan grabbed him and they both jumped from the carriage. But they both caught hold of the ropes on the carriage. Just then, the girl arrived. She rescued Shanyuan and shook off the pursuers. Before they could catch their breath, gunshots rang out from behind. The disemboweled soldier's younger brother had come for revenge. He seized the chance to jump onto the carriage and fight with Shanyuan. Seeing that the two were evenly matched, the girl jumped onto the horse's back and cut the ropes of the trailer. She casually threw a wooden stick. Shanyuan caught it and successfully knocked the man down. He turned and jumped onto the horse's back. They detached the trailer and escaped. Unexpectedly, Hai sprang out from the snow again, about to shoot. The girl turned and fired an arrow, hitting the horse's leg. Hai was thrown from the horse but decided to let the two go. When he returned to the 7th Division, he found the place engulfed in a raging fire. A subordinate reported they failed to retrieve the tattooed skin. But Hai wasn't flustered at all. He took off his military uniform. It turned out he had sewn the skins into his clothes. Meanwhile, the escaped pair found the tattoo clues they had hidden earlier. The girl was furious that he left without saying goodbye. She had already resolved to avenge her father. She blamed Shanyuan for treating her like a child. Shanyuan told her a story. He had a childhood friend, Yinchi. The two of them and Mizi were childhood sweethearts. Then one day, Shanyuan's family died of tuberculosis. Fearing infection, the people around them dared not approach his home. Enduring gossip all day, Shanyuan gradually broke down. He decided to burn down his house and leave. Mizi wanted to go with him, but Shanyuan, worried he was also infected, left alone. He secretly vowed that if he was still alive after a year, he would come back for Mizi. However, when he returned to the village a year later, he discovered that Mizi had already married Yinchi. When Yinchi saw Shanyuan appear, he emotionally told him not to ruin his life. But Shanyuan had no such intention. He simply congratulated Yinchi on his marriage. Not long after, during the Russo-Japanese War, Yinchi died, saving Shanyuan's life. Before he died, he told Shanyuan that Mizi was suffering from an eye disease. He wanted to go to Hokkaido to find the gold, find the best doctor, and cure Mizi. But now, he could only pass this mission on to Shanyuan. After the war, Shanyuan visited Mizi. By this time, her eyes had gone completely blind. Having killed countless people, Shanyuan couldn't face Mizi. He turned away and came to Hokkaido to find the gold. He wanted to fulfill Yinchi's dying wish. The girl told him that her father often said, "Everything in this world carries its own mission. Her mission is to avenge her father. And Shanyuan's mission is to cure Mizi." And so, the two once again set off on their journey to find the gold. The film ends here. A post-credit scene reveals that the gold is not 200 kan, but a full 20,000 kan. The major factions all want to secretly establish their own regimes. Boichi also reunites with the pair at the end. The man suspected of slaughtering the Ainu people appears in prison, muttering the girl's name. And he has the same blue eyes as the girl. Is the director implying that this is the girl's father? This mystery can only be revealed in the second installment. The film doesn't explicitly state that Shanyuan cannot die, only that his injuries heal much faster than a normal person's. As a manga-to-film adaptation, the performance of Golden Kamuy can be said to be excellent. Most of the shots in the film are highly faithful to the source material. Influenced by the original work, the first installment's runtime isn't enough to tell the complete story. It leaves the audience with many cliffhangers. In recent years, many popular IPs have been adapted into films. Too many of these works deviate from the original's plot and setting. Let's hope future Golden Kamuy installments don't stray too far from the source. Alright, that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed my video, please subscribe to my channel. Your support is my greatest encouragement.